Life, as we know, has high highs and low lows, and never, ever goes quite according to plan. But that's to be expected. It's to be relished and never feared, because you are too fierce to be feared. We grow in cycles, and these experiences and pivots are what allow us to know ourselves on a much deeper level. And often, the biggest upsets can redirect us to a different path, one that is more authentic to who we truly are. I believe in second chances. I believe in second wins. After all, you're looking at somebody that found their purpose, their calling, after retiring from a long-term career somewhere else. So when I became Speaker of the Council and learned that 700,000 working-age New Yorkers had left our CUNY colleges without graduating, I recognized this as a unique opportunity to help people pursue their callings and fulfill their dreams. The overwhelmingly majority of these New Yorkers are women, Black, Latino, and other people of color. Many left college, not because they wanted to, but because they had no other choice. These students had economic or family obligations that required them to step away from school. If given the opportunity to complete their degrees, I believed these New Yorkers would absolutely seize that opportunity. And I'm so proud to say they did just that, and even more than we ever imagined. Through the help of a program we started called CUNY Reconnect, thousands of New Yorkers have been able to continue their education and unlock new pathways to economic opportunity and mobility. In the 2 years since the Council launched CUNY Reconnect, the initiative has supported more than 33,000 students in their return to college, including nearly 800 students at Kingsborough just this semester. And this spring, in ceremonies just like this one across our city, over 4,000 CUNY Reconnect students will walk across the stage to receive their diplomas. The joy this brings me is deeply rooted and personal to me, as I am reminded of my own father, and I love to talk about him. He's no longer here, but he returned to complete his degree in economics at York College in Queens, decades after he began his college life. In fact, he and I were actually students at York at the same time, which was not cool. It was not cool. It was not cool. I was a full-time student at York in the day, and my father was juggling his course load on top of his full-time job in the daytime. He was so proud to fulfill this promise to himself, and we were all so very proud of him. Some of you graduating today might recognize yourself in that very same story. Kingsborough Community College may be a second chance, and for others, may be the first step in your journey. No matter what stage you're in, though, all of us here are united in our desire to lead a meaningful life and in our pursuit of opportunities that make a good life possible. If you learn to listen to yourself, if you learn to trust yourself, you will find your place in the world, or you will carve out a brand new one and set a trail for others to follow you. Graduates, while there may be a sense of finality today as you walk across the stage to receive your diplomas, know that commencement is also meant to be a brand new beginning. Continue to engage with your community. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and be generous with yourself, with the inner gifts that you possess as you make your own way. Today, you are starting the newest chapter of your life. Wherever you go, just remember that you will never be alone, because your loved ones and your community will be right here with you. You have accomplished something incredible. It is immense, and I know for sometimes it has been truly intense. But again, as I started, you did that. You did that. I am so incredibly proud of all of you. I look forward to the great things that you are going to bring to this city, to this world. I look forward to everything that you will impart onto me in my journey. I look forward to the generations that you will reproduce, the eyes that you will make brighten, the ears that you will make to hear what it is that you have to say to give to the world. I am so proud of you, Kingsborough graduates. Congratulations, class of 2024.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, President Kirchner. Muy buenas tardes a todos. Great to be here with you. Thank you for inviting me to be part of Hunter's College 227th commencement. I want to begin by thanking President Kirchner for her leadership during this transitional year at Hunter. She has played important roles at CUNY for many years, and I know she will always have a special connection to the Hunter class of 2024. So, Anne, thank you so much for your service. Can you please give a big round of applause to President Ann Kirchner? I want to thank also Board of Trustee Vice Chair Sandra Wilkins, a Hunter grad, for joining me today in celebrating all of you graduates. And I welcome our distinguished commencement speaker, U.S. District Judge Carlton Reeves. Thank you, Judge Reeves, for making the trip from Mississippi, and congratulations to you and to a distinguished member of the Hunter family, Dr. Janetta Cole and Dr. David Julian Hedges, two longtime Hunter faculty luminaries on receiving honorary degrees here today. And congratulations to our valedictorians, and a special shout out to you valedictorian speaker Naomi Sampson, a DACA recipient who exemplifies the tenacity and talent so many of your students who come to CUNY from diverse places and backgrounds to thrive. To the class of 2024, many of whom began during the pandemic and were denied an in-person high school graduation, the CUNY community is incredibly proud of you. Despite the many hardships, you stayed focused and made it here today. Looking out and seeing you in your caps and gowns gives me an immense sense of pride. You are not only joining the Hunter College alumni family, but you're also part of the great story of the City University of New York. It is a connection that I have felt personally from the day I arrived at Hunter to begin my CUNY career as a faculty member, and that was 24 years ago. Many of you were not born yet. My CUNY journey, like so many of yours, could not have happened without the encouragement and support of family. You can feel the love all over this arena, and it's one of the reasons I love commencement so much. For many years as a faculty member at Hunter, I was sitting where the rest of the faculty is there at commencement, and I used to march at this commencement wearing my PhD gown that my grandmother bought for me when I graduated and I got my PhD. My grandmother, mi abuela, was born in rural Puerto Rico and overcome the barriers. Yes, you can give a shout out to. She overcame the social barriers over time to graduate from the University of Puerto Rico and go on to a 40-year career teaching English in the public schools of Puerto Rico. She paved the way for her son, my father, to become an engineer and contribute financially to my education and that of my two brothers. The PhD gown she bought for me was a symbol of her pride and also of her strong belief in the unmatched power of education to open the doors of opportunity and personal growth. Being here today reminds me of her and the great potential we all were able to tap into thanks to the gateway of higher education. This is something we share as we celebrate the aspiration, perseverance, and accomplishment that you have brought into this exciting moment. Like generations of CUNY graduates, many of you are the first one in your families to earn a college degree. Your family might have roots far away from New York. You have worked hard. You have believed in yourselves. You have earned all the opportunities that got you to this point, as well as those who await. I am excited about your future. I am proud. I have no doubt that if my abuela was here today, she will also be proud of each one of you and your families. I am thrilled to extend my heartfelt congratulations to all of you and your families on behalf of the entire CUNY family. Thank you to all y muy buena suerte. Éxito. Take care.
Years ago, if you had asked me what I was most afraid of, I would have told you math and public speaking. I seem to have managed the math, but as for the public speaking, we're going to find out today. Admittedly, right now, speaking to thousands of people, I feel vulnerable, unguarded, and uncomfortable. But that's perfect, because my message to you today is that growth does not happen without discomfort. I'd like you to think back to your freshman year, specifically a time when your professor called on you to answer a question which you were completely unprepared for. In that moment, were you frustrated? Did you feel embarrassed? My advice to you today is to find that feeling and spend as much time with it as you can. Learning is an innately vulnerable experience. And during the process of learning, you will be continuously exposed to your current limitations and the gaps in your knowledge. This is unnegotiable. Our teachers and mentors make sure of it. But academically, and in all other things, the discomfort that you experience is fundamentally linked to your progress. I say this because spending time with discomfort is the practice that has led me to where I am now. A double major in computer science and math, a published computer vision student researcher, an advocate for women in STEM, and very proudly, your valedictorian. But believe me when I say, thank you. Believe me when I say I never would have expected this. When I was 18, I enrolled in a Midwestern college with an unwavering commitment to become the next great advertiser. That lasted 2 years. Well, many of you know already that personal and financial hardships have a way of disrupting unwavering commitments. But as I navigated the uncomfortable difference between my expected path and the one which became my own, I started to recognize ambitions which had always been patiently waiting. I didn't know what it would take to realize them, or even that the field I would need to study was called computer vision. But in 2020, I chose discomfort. I applied to the computer science department at CSI. I had never touched a line of code, and it had been 8 years since my last math course. Statistics, grade F. But CSI's acceptance cemented my willingness to try again. Here, CSI's faculty and staff has pushed us to be our best. I was urged to tackle my fear of leadership by Advisor Brescia, Professor Anderson, Imberman, and all the female faculty in the computer science and math department, allowing me to establish the Women in Technology Club. I was guided to engage with goals that I had assumed were out of reach by Professor Iacona, Pitingi, and Agayan. Eventually, I presented my first publication to a room of real computer vision researchers. And now I have been accepted into the PhD program at Tufts University. Our college education was transformed by COVID. This year, we've navigated the strange beginning of what will undoubtedly be described as the first AI boom. And now, together, we prepare to leave the community we have grown so close to. For persisting through these discomforts, we have been rewarded. We have become adaptable, creative, resilient, and entrepreneurial. Most significantly today, as graduates of CSI, you become representatives of your chosen field of study. The scale of this achievement is enormous. Your potential is as well. So as you prepare to leave CSI, I ask that you choose to put yourself in positions where you may be called on, just as you were as a freshman. Maintain a willingness to engage in discomfort and show the entire world the resilience that our graduating class will undoubtedly be known for. With this message, it is my absolute privilege to say, congratulations, class of 2024.
As thousands before me have said, for us it was City College or nothing. I enjoyed the solidarity those words invoked, but rejected the implied deprivation. From first day to last, I felt privileged to be a student at City, privileged and profoundly at home. It was not from the faculty that City drew its reputation for intellectual goodness. It was... I'm not going to apologize for all the gaffes I'm about to make. It was not from the faculty, it was from its students, it was from us. Not that we were intellectually distinguished, we weren't, but our hungry energy vitalized the place. Most of us had been reading in bottled up silence from the age of 6 on, and City College was our great release. At City, I sat talking in a basement cafeteria until 10 or 11 at night with a half dozen others who also never wanted to go home to Brooklyn or the Bronx. And here in the cafeteria, my education took root. Here I learned that Faulkner was America, Dickens was politics, Marx was sex, that I came from a ghetto, and D.H. Lawrence was a visionary. Here, my love of literature named itself, and the immense value of thought, sheer thought, blossomed. I discovered that people were transformed by ideas and that intellectual conversation was erotic. While we pursued the life of the mind, we felt known to ourselves and to one another. The world made sense. There was ground beneath our feet, a place in the universe to stand. City College made conscious in me inner coherence as a first value. Who were we? Where did we come from? What did we look like trudging up the hill between Compton Avenue and the subway, sitting obediently in class, arguing madly as soon as the bell rang? We were the children of tailors, shopkeepers, factory workers, accountants, bakers, dress cutters, clerks, milkmen, bus drivers. Our shoes were scuffed, our clothes came from chain stores, our haircuts from neighborhood barbershops and beauty parlors. And what did we know of the world? Nothing. At the same time, how many of us were wise beyond our years? One afternoon during an English lit class, a number of us were buzzing about a boy sitting in the back of the room who looked nothing like us. He was slim and good-looking, his haircut was a work of art, and he was wearing a navy blue sweater. The wool was thin, that lay beautifully flat on his chest. I thought he was French. The girl in front of me twisted around in her seat and whispered, "He's from Bard." The girl on my left said, "Where's that?" The girl on my right said, "What's that?" But when the teacher asked us why, Isabel Archer went back to Gilbert Osmond at the end of Portrait of a Lady, and a number of students, in perfect imitation of Henry James, called out that morally speaking it was the right thing to do. It was the girl on my right who said, "She's afraid of herself." And there you had City College, unworldliness trumped by the insights of lived experience. Throughout the school's history, lived experience had held pride of place, and I dare say still does. Not so many years ago, I was told that a writer who had taught at two posh schools and then at City College said, at Chicago, all they wanted to know was, what's the theory? At Yale, all they wanted to know was, what's the technique? At City, all they wanted to know was, how does this relate to real life? A man who'd been a former classmate of mine at City once said to me, "In my neighborhood, you went to grade school, you went to high school, and then you went to City College." It was the same where I lived. City College was spoken of as though it was an extension of the public school system we all knew. Only the formula usually applied to the boys in the neighborhood, not the girls. Every girl I grew up with went to secretarial school after high school and then got married. End of story. I was the only girl on the block who went to college. And how, one might ask, did that come about? It was my mother who had encouraged me to take the academic, not the commercial course when I entered high school. This had been an act of stubborn courage on her part because at the time, my father, who died young, had been gone only a few years. My mother was barely holding the house together, and she knew that her family had expected me at the age of 17 to go out and get a job. When it turned out that I badly wanted to go to college, she held her ground. "Where is it written that a working-class widow's daughter should go to college?" my Uncle Jack asked, drinking coffee at our kitchen table on a Saturday morning in my senior year in high school. "Here it is written," my mother said, tapping the table hard with her middle finger. "Right here it is written, the girl goes to college." I'm so glad to be. Why he had pursued. No, it's not all bread and roses, believe me. Well, here it is written, the girl goes to college, why he had pursued. Because I say so. But why? What do you think will come of it? I don't know. I only know she's clever, she deserves an education, and she's going to get one. This is America. She is not a cow in the field only waiting for a bull to mate with. Where had that come from? I had wondered in silent amazement. Yet, it must also be said that no matter how much our families revered education and wanted us to rise in the world, the experience of a first-generation college student in an immigrant home was bound to be fraught, as the discrepancy between the idea and the reality inevitably created a divide within the family of seismic proportion. In a memoir I wrote in the 1980s, I speak intimately of how becoming that first-generation student played out in mine, and with the indulgence of all of you, I will quote myself a bit. This is what I wrote about being a commuter student. We still use the subways, still walk the familiar streets between classes, still return to the neighborhood each night, talked to our high school friends, and went to sleep in our childhood beds. But secretly, we had begun to live in a world inside our heads where we read, thought, and talked in a way that separated us from our parents, the life of the house and that of the street. We had been initiated, had learned the difference between hidden and expressed thought. This made us subversives in our own homes. My emotionally explosive mother never knew what hit her, and very quickly I think she was of two minds about me and city. She had certainly wanted me to go to school, no question about that, had been energized by the determination that I do so, but she hadn't understood that going to school meant I would start thinking coherently and out loud. She was taken by violent surprise when my sentences got longer within a month of those first classes. Longer, more complicated, formed by words whose meaning she did not always understand. I had never used a word she didn't understand, or made a sentence whose logic she couldn't follow, or attempted an opinion that grew out of an abstraction. It made her crazy. Her face began to take on a look of animal cunning when I started a sentence that could not possibly be concluded before 3 clauses had hit the air. Cunning sparked anger. Anger flamed into rage. "What are you talking about?" she would shout at me. "What are you talking about? Speak English, please. We all understand English in this house. Speak it." She didn't know why she was angry, and if she'd been told she was angry, she would have denied it, would have found a way to persuade both herself and any interested listener that she was proud I was in school, only why did I have to be such a show-off? Was that what going to college was all about? Now take Mr. Lewis, the insurance agent, an educated man if ever there was one, got a degree from City College in 1929. 1929, mind you, and never made you feel stupid. Always spoke in simple sentences, but later you thought about what he had said. That's the way an educated person should talk. Here's this snot-nosed kid coming into the kitchen with all these big words, sentences you can't make head or tail of. She was, of course, right, only it would take me 40 years to realize how right she was. On the other hand, she never understood arguing. We never stopped talking. Now I'm back to City College. Mainly, I guess, because we did very little else. Most of us came into City College virgins and went out the same way. And all of us were restricted by working class economics, hardly ever going to plays, concerts, or any kind of paid entertainment. Conversation was our all. And at City in the 1950s, that meant arguing. Arguing was mother's milk to most of us, what we did every day in the house, on the street, in the neighborhood. It was, in fact, the only way most of us had ever known how to encounter one another. Everyone argued, our mothers and fathers, our neighbors, our playmates. You did it well, or you did it less than well, or you did it badly. It didn't really matter. Nothing special attached to you with regard to how well you argued. I never knew I was smart, said a former classmate of mine, until I got to CCNY. And right away, someone was telling me my position was smart, but he didn't agree with it. I looked at him. I was just talking, like I did every day of my life on the block. Only here at City, it seemed, I had a position. And the guy didn't agree with it, but it was smart. It was during the radicalized 1930s that City College became famous for the depth and maturity of those overheated debating skills practiced by a small but significant number of students who, in response to the highly political atmosphere brought on by the Great Depression, developed radical debate very nearly to the level of Talmudic studies. These were 19 and 20-year-old boys arguing like seasoned speakers, schooled in the finer points of literature, philosophy, and political theory, as though a world of values was at stake, very often debating like Lenin, who had famously said, "I do not argue to defeat my opponent. I argue to annihilate him." Within 20 years, many of these 30s debaters at CCNY would emerge as the country's most effective public intellectuals, leaving the school in possession of its richly romantic reputation as a proletarian Harvard. The polemical urgency that accompanied argumentation when I was at City was certainly not what it had once been. The Cold War 1950s were not, after all, the Depression 30s or World War II 40s. But still, the spiritual heat that argument inevitably aroused in everyone kept us sounding more like the immigrant hotheads from whom we sprang than the keepers of the culture to whom we aspired. For many years, I saw myself as a born ideologue, the allure of one systematic devotion or another, socialism, psychoanalysis, women's rights, all of them, each in turn, exerting its influence on me. Exciting, poetic, full of yearning and promise. The panic and confusion of life in the moment pushed back, making the world feel magically whole. But once, during the 1980s, Joan Didion scornfully informed the feminists that ideology did not produce art. She missed the point, did not grasp the rapture of the thing itself, did not understand that ideology flows from the same urgency as art, the need to feel alive within ourselves. And in some places, the streams intermingle. In the mid-1950s, I experienced this urgency daily at lunch in the City College cafeteria, arguing a position. Thank you.
This is, in many ways, a homecoming for me. Like many of you, I am an immigrant, first-generation college graduate in this country. I understand the hard work, the pride, and the sense of responsibility that each of you feels towards your families as you complete this stage of your lives and start your work as proud graduates of the John Jay College of Criminal Justice. John Jay, of course, is renowned for producing graduates dedicated to serving society and making the world a safer and more just place. In a world beset by inequity and conflict and war, your talents and experiences are definitely more needed today than ever. Where you do that, in the jobs that you will pursue in the 5 boroughs, elsewhere in New York State, or even further afield, wise, compassionate advocates who defend victims, speak out for the downtrodden, and assure equality before the law are in high demand these very days. Like many of you, I am also dedicated to public service, having built my career becoming a lawyer and serving in government from the federal, from the White House, the U.S. Department of State, ambassador twice, and I even had a stint in the New York City Department of Education. I encourage you more than ever to learn of and stay engaged with our country's work abroad. My work is to represent you and your values and interests. The United States, and by extension, all of you, are at the heart of our global decision-making and our ideas. Make sure, please, that you engage and hold your representatives, like me, accountable. People like me should be held accountable for what we do and how we represent your interests and your vision of the world. Representing the United States, and by extension, all of you as citizens and residents of this incredible country, I am humbled by the responsibility, though it is also a source of immense pride, demonstrating each day the power of our diverse, dynamic, and hopefully noble nation. Changing the world and making it a better place is definitely possible, though sometimes the scale of that change is measured one individual at a time through the relationships we cultivate. Whatever your line of work is, I would recommend each and every one of you to stay engaged with the world. And that shouldn't be hard for New Yorkers, given the city and the state's place in global affairs and the immense diversity of its residents. You have here over 130 countries represented. The world looks to all of you, to New York as the host of the United Nations, but the state and city are also immensely important. New York National Guard has partnerships with South Africa and Brazil. The NYPD has served as mentors to police officers in Haiti. But there is so much more, because whether we are talking about diplomacy, culture, finance, or the sense of possibility that millions of visitors bring here each year, what happens in New York does not stay in New York. It impacts and consequences ripple out to the farthest regions of the planet through our families and our communities and through all of you. So many of the conversations I have had with people in Spain and elsewhere revolve around our experiences here in New York. As students, diplomats, tourists, or business people, this is the heart of the experiment of humanity today. Non-New Yorkers are in awe of our grand diversity and the way we more or less get along, of the immense power and creativity that it generates. Thank you for giving me this honorary degree. I am humbled and really I'm in awe of the fact that I am here before you. I want to echo Dr. Elijah's point. Please vote. Please vote, because it's not only about the United States anymore. It's not about me or even us here in this room. It's about the world. Look around you at how complicated and chaotic many places of the world are. We all have to do more to hold people like me, like my government, like our congressmen, like our senators accountable for our actions, because the United States is the leader, is the voice. I am here to serve you. I'm in Spain to be your representative. But please, you all have a responsibility too, to hold people like me accountable. Thank you. I can't tell you how urgent it is for you to become involved and to vote. This is probably the most important year of our modern history. Thank you.
My name is Davia Willis, and I am the president of the Student Government Association and a criminal justice major at Queensborough Community College. I would like to echo the welcome that has gone forth and to once again express gratitude to all our well-wishers, family, friends, peers, colleagues who have joined in the celebration of the class of 2024. A year ago, I was having a conversation with Raymond Valel, our student life specialist, and he told me a story about burning the boats. The phrase might sound meaningless, but it is meaningful when told in its entirety. The story talks about a Spanish expedition led by Hernan Cortes, who landed in Mexico back in 1519. And upon his arrival, it was said that he burnt all his ships, which was to communicate a clear message that there was no turning back. Many of us, we came into Queensborough Community College unsure of the future. For some, we were unsure of our majors. For me, I was unsure of the experience, as I am an international student from the island of Jamaica. For others, it was a fresh start after leaving to return again. Whether you were a new student, a returning student, or a transfer student, we burned our boats. We made up our minds to face our battles head-on, and we succeeded a few years later with the conquest of our associate degrees. Celebrate this win, comrades, whether it took you longer or shorter than it should have. Let us stand in solidarity with each other, cheering each other on as we walk across this stage to collect that degree. If we are honest though, and if we're honest, credit should also be given to ChatGPT and other AI platforms. So on behalf of us, I salute them. Nonetheless, we are here to collect that degree that we have worked so hard for. As we prepare to write the remainder of this chapter or this book, I want for you to pause and to embrace this moment. Pause and reflect on the journey. Acknowledge the struggles and express gratitude for the experience. If we all begin to share our journey in Queensborough, many of us would not fear the hardship of being in the military. I have had to balance a lengthy commute of 6 hours per day, a broken home, imposter syndrome, and so much more, while ensuring a positive attitude towards my studies, mental health, and being your advocate. Others of us, we've pushed through homelessness, food insecurity, and deaths within family. To share the sacrifices we have made, the victories we have won, and the battles we have lost, the seasons we have endured, but the growth we have attained. I have had these seasons where I lost things and people important to me, but Ray would always remind me that we are rockets. And what happens to rockets when they get to a certain altitude? The boosters, they fall off. In case you hear it from no one else today, I am proud of you. I am proud of you for pulling through those seasons and enduring those rocket seasons. Last orientation for incoming students, I spoke about having a plan and executing the plan as taught to us by Leonard Snart in the series The Flash. You watch The Flash? Yeah. So for those of us who watch The Flash, he taught us that there are only 4 rules we need to remember. Make the plan, execute the plan, prepare for the plan to go off the rails, and throw away the plan. He did not tell us what to do after we throw away the plan, but either way, we had to figure out how to survive. Whether you found yourself sticking to your plan or having to recreate an entire plan, guess what? We are here. I am proud to celebrate with you. I am grateful to have been your friend, acquaintance, peer, classmate, and yes, I am the student that would respond to your Blackboard discussions. It's nice to meet you in person. I too complained about the inconvenience of the elevators that was more consistent than our class attendance. That exhausting distance from the Q30 bus stop just to get to class, I know. And I also know what it's like to write an email that goes something like, "Hello, Professor. I hope this email finds you well." However, most importantly, I am honored to have been your president. I would like to leave you with the words of Minor Myers Jr. Go into the world and do well, but more importantly, go into the world and do good. We belong to the home of the Tigers. We are fearless, courageous, and no one should dare challenge our inner strengths. We are now alumni of this prestigious institution, but no matter where life takes us after this, always remember, once a tiger, always a tiger. Congratulations to the class of 2024. A job well done.
Just over 10 years ago, I had the privilege of standing on a stage not too far from here at the Brooklyn Cyclone Stadium, addressing my graduating class. And then I was speaking as a representative of the students. But today, I have the privilege of representing the alums of this fine institution, being a faculty member of this fine institution, and having the benefit of mentoring even some of you who are graduating today. But today, I can reflect on my journey. I started at City Tech being a teenager from a Queens public school. I wasn't sure that I would continue my education past a few semesters in college. But if I had told you today what I thought then, it is a shock that I've accomplished even half of the things that I've done. I probably would have rolled my eyes and laughed if I thought about some of the things I accomplished today back when I was a teenager walking into City Tech. But I don't say those things to brag, but I say that to acknowledge that City Tech has offered me many opportunities and has been the catalyst for many of the things that I've been able to accomplish today. My professors, some administrators, even classmates helped me to see things in myself that I didn't even know that I had. I got my first job because of City Tech, and I ended up in law school and becoming a lawyer because of City Tech. So I encourage you to take the time as you go forward to reflect on some of the positives that came from your education while you were here at City Tech. See, maybe you too were in the boat of not knowing exactly what you would do or who you would be. You may have come from a background and a family where maybe few or none have had the privilege of graduating from college. However, because of City Tech, so many of you have been able to make friends and make connections and be able to graduate, accomplishing a goal that maybe you did not see for yourselves. So allow these positive experiences you had to motivate you. In fact, I encourage you to have it to motivate you to pay it forward. How? Well, first, I encourage you to think about taking the time to mentor other students who may be coming up behind you, knowing that some people took the time to mentor you. I also encourage you to stay in touch. You would be surprised how much that means to students, faculty, and fellow alums. Keep in touch with the Alumni Relations Office at City Tech and let them know about the things that you accomplish. And finally, when you receive an email for City Tech asking for a donation, maybe it's for CUNY Tuesday, before you are quick to hit delete, think about considering donating to your institution. Those donations allow for students like yourself to come up behind you. It truly helps those that are coming after you. See, your generosity assists students with some of their most basic needs. We have been able to provide scholarships, helping students to take a class that they otherwise would have not been able to. Because of the generosity of our alumni, staff, faculty, and others, some students have been able to complete a college degree despite needing a steady place to lie their heads or lacking a guarantee of where they would get their next meal. Just remember that every little bit counts. So again, it is my pleasure to congratulate you all, but I also would like to welcome you. Welcome to the alumni ranks of a school that allows such a diverse group of individuals to exceed their expectations. Welcome to the City Tech Alumni Association class of 2023-2024. We hope that you stay connected and share your journey and stories with us in the future.
During these past few years on campus, I spent hours walking up and down the steps of Ingersoll Hall. In the middle of a rush period, I stopped to look up. There were banners all around campus, and on them, I saw us, Brooklyn College students. Expand your horizons, realize your dreams. You belong here. Each banner was a declaration of what this campus had to offer. This is what Brooklyn College wants the world to know about its education, its opportunities, and its vision. But then I wondered, what do these banners say about us? As students and now graduates of this institution, we've become ambassadors of not just Brooklyn College, but our future selves. So I ask you, class of 2024, what do you want the world to know about you? And do you have the courage to show it? Two things we have in common as Brooklyn College students are how quickly we pull out our IDs to get to class on time. I know I've seen some of you pushing me out of the way, but as well as our unbridled potential. Whether it be in marketing, history, or applied mathematics, the possibilities are endless, but so are the barriers we may face. Financial or familial issues, and suddenly it feels like we're not good enough. What happens when we're too afraid to work towards our dreams? And what do we do if we feel like we can't? Success requires hard work, dedication, and most important of all, courage. I transferred to Brooklyn College during the pandemic, so my first semester was a series of asking for directions. Because honestly, let's all be real for a second. What is the difference between Ingersoll and Ingersoll Extension? Like, I know you guys have gotten lost like I have. But directions aside, I think the readjustment to in-person classes was brutal for all of us. We've all sat in the class where a professor asked a question that's unanimously answered with silence. And I'll admit that I also am guilty of keeping quiet even when I knew the answer. But you guys, this is our secret. Do not tell my professors. For me, courage meant ensuring that my voice was heard, even when I felt no one else was listening. It meant applying for scholarships and programs where I would be the only Black woman there. Even now, it means daring to dream about a career where my research helps create positive health outcomes for women in marginalized communities. Nelson Mandela once said, "I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it," and I could not agree more. As I gained more confidence and conquered my fears, I was conducting research, presenting at conferences, and coordinating programs. My free time included roles on planning committees and attending club events. And I have to take this time to give the biggest shout out to the Women of Color Club at Brooklyn College and their members. I love you guys. As a first-generation college student, an immigrant from the Bahamas, and apparently the first Black woman to be named the valedictorian of this institution, this meant and means everything, and I owe it all to everyone who poured it into me. I want to say thank you, and you guys hold your breath. I got a lot of mentors. I want to say thank you to my mentors, Dr. Kiyoko Koizumi, Professors Joseph Enton, Alan Haha, and Jean Theo Harris, and the Tao Foundation. Oh my gosh, guys, we talked about this. And the Tao Foundation for continuing to support the mentoring of Brooklyn College students. There you go. And I wouldn't be here today without the love and support of my mother and my late father. Hi, Mommy. Without Captain Kim Thompson and Tamiko Bryce, and my family and friends. Thank you for seeing my potential and for encouraging me to act on it. But I would be lying if I said that I am fearless. Yes, I stand before you with my head held high and this incredibly huge smile on my face, but I still struggle with imposter syndrome. I sat petrified for hours before I had the nerve to submit my graduate school applications. All at once, I felt the immense weight of being the first in my family to push back against exclusion and the discriminatory practices that kept people like us out of higher education. But then, I remembered who I am and who we are, class of 2024. We are survivors of both Zoom and Blackboard Collaborate. We all know that. We are full and part-time workers. We are mothers and fathers, commuters and transfer students. And guess what, class of 2024? We're going to change the world. I know the obstacles we face are real, but believe me when I say that you are not alone. At Brooklyn College, I expanded my horizons, and my eyes were open to all of the possibilities. I realized my dreams of doing undergraduate research and finding incredible mentors, and I knew I belonged and was able to contribute to the diversity and excellence that exists here. So I ask you again, class of 2024, what do you want the world to know about you, and what do you have the courage to show it? I implore you all to be the first to dismiss every doubt about yourselves and your futures. In this fight to create an equitable world for all, it starts with us. It is our duty to resist oppression and injustice, to oppose brutality and censorship on our own college campuses, and to demand the creation of just institutions that serve us all, as is our right. And for those of you fighting on the front lines, for all the things I just talked about, we stand with you in solidarity. To finally close, be strong and be courageous, graduates. Embrace your full potential and always let your voices be heard. Just like those banners, shout from the rooftops that you're ready for whatever comes next. Congratulations again, class of 2024, and good luck. Thank you.